like everyone is running from the truth. We just stand up and fight, walk into the night. We're the people, we can do it if we try. I know we can do it. Somebody asked me, why do we have to go through it? It's just the test of our faith. But we're living day to day. We don't know where, we don't know when. But it's coming back again. Oh, yes, it is. It's late in the evening. Oh, Lord, it's time for you to return. Oh, Lord, see. I know. Time to make a change. Oh, yes, it is that time. Oh my God, I am so happy to be here with you today. Dr. West and I count it all joy that we are together once again. And Doc, I gotta lift you up, and Dr. Abdullah, y'all held it down yesterday. Oh, thank you so very much. And I can't wait for you to get into a little bit of what you and Dr. Abdullah talked about. On today, Doc, we're going to talk about the fact that Congresswoman Barbara Lee is now mayor-elect. I know that news has been percolating out there. You and I, we have not talked about that in a deep way, but it is historic for her in many ways. And hopefully the policies that she puts forward and what she fights for as the mayor-elect of Oakland will be historic as well. And then you got Governor Gavin Newsom. Since we rolling through California, Governor Gavin Newsom says that Democrats need to stop looking for a savior on a white horse. Ooh, I think you and I may agree with him, but for different reasons. We can tease that out as well. And you know what, Doc, I'm going to stop right there because we kind of get into these things. And I just want to know, as I know all of our viewers want to know, all our listeners, what the doctor's in the house. So what is on your heart, your soul, and your mind today?
Well, I first want to say, my dear sister, that you're right. It was wonderful to be with Sister Melina, Dr. Abdullah. I hadn't been with her since the campaign when we were all across the country together with Anahita and the others. But I missed you.
I missed you.
And appreciates what we doing and ways in which she was able to come in and keep it flowing. And of course, Tab is always misses you too.
We a team.
And the love is always there.
Yes.
I've been spending so much time with our precious young people. I've been hitting a lot of high schools lately. I've always done that. But I think of, how do we pass on the great tradition to the younger generation? And one of the things that I think more and more comes to the fore, comes to the surface, is that we must never, ever allow our foes to be our primary point of reference. We must never, ever allow our enemies to be our fundamental preoccupation. We have got to situate ourselves in our great traditions of families and communities and neighborhoods and stories and narratives and arguments that come out of our struggle for freedom. That is the primary point of reference. And when we were talking about these kinds of issues earlier this week, we're talking about mom and dad and church, and many would talk about mosque, a temple, a synagogue. Some would talk about the corner. Others would talk about the barbershops and beauty salons or the nightclubs. Whatever site where you feel empowered and ennobled, that's where one begins. You notice you always begin with joy. Ooh, that's not an accident, but that's a serious starting point, my dear sister. Because if you start with the joy, there's a good chance you'll never get to it. Just like if you don't start with the love, there's a very good chance you'll never get to it. So you got to start with the joy poured into you, with the love poured into you, with the freedom, courage, integrity poured into you by your loved ones and your tradition. Then you're equipped to deal with your foes. Then you're equipped to deal with your enemies, equipped to deal with a sick country and a corrupt system. so that it doesn't get you down. It doesn't paralyze you. It doesn't debilitate you. It doesn't discombobulate you. And that's a spiritual, moral struggle that we keep coming back to week after week after week. And we have to make that almost kind of incantation over and over again, making sure that we're grounded, we're anchored, that our anchor holds, that we've got our roots in place. And those roots are like wings that allow us to fly like eagles. That is what most disturbs the powers that be.
Yeah, Doc, disturbing the powers that be, stirring that water. And when you never allow our enemies to be our fundamental focus.
That's
You
right.
said it more eloquently, but
the first point of reference. I mean, sooner or later, you're going to wrestle with your enemies and your foes, but you don't start with them as a point of reference because you end up being so obsessed and preoccupied with them. You use too much of the energy directed toward them than the energy that ought to be coming through you, given the love poured into you by loved ones, by those in your tradition that make you possible, that enable you, that sense of hope and vision and strength and determination.
Yeah, that's a sermon, Doc. Start with love, start with joy. We need to be equipped.
Yes.
Right, for the battle. That's a whole lot of stuff for us to wrap our minds around when we come forward. Y'all take this time. Wrap your minds around it. When we come forward, we will continue. You are listening to Truth Time.
Speaking truth to power. And to the powerless. This is Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. If you missed our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall, the Altadena Eden Fire, 100 Days and Counting, you missed an evening of reverence, reflection, and reality.
You gotta live in the reality because this is it. Every day, you wake up, is this my life? Don't stay in denial because yes, it is. Don't stay in bargaining where you're praying for a miracle and if it wouldn't have happened, then this is what I would have done. It did.
Our panel participants kept it real. Really real.
I think, number one, it's amazing to me how we ignore systemic racism in our community. And as a people, we've apologized for so much. But when will we stop apologizing for what we have paid for? Because the truth of the matter is we paid for this.
You can always count on KBLA Talk 1580 to give it to you straight, no chaser. When you love folk, you tell them the truth. Seeking the truth, speaking the truth. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down.
Hey, this is Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and for over 20 years, Parkside Economic Development Corporation has served Leimert Park and surrounding communities, empowering tomorrow's leaders and changing lives. Parkside EDC has awarded over $400,000 in college scholarships while sharing economic principles of the Big Five of money with students and their families. Parkside EDC partners with organizations like the Brotherhood Crusade to assure our youth have the financial acumen to succeed. Parkside EDC provides families and businesses with financial insights, offering free online, on-site, and on-air B-Warp presentations. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Programs helps our community acquire, sustain, and pass down legacy wealth. High school seniors can apply for this year's scholarship awards at parksideedc.org. Scholarships will be awarded at Parkside EDC's Gospel/Jazz Brunch on Sunday, April the 27th. For details, tickets, or donations, please visit parksideedc.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
To thine own self be true. More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner coming your way right now on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, thank you so much. And if you have missed any part of this show or any show on the KBLA Talk 1580 network, I call it network, Doc, because Brother Tavis Smiley has a whole network. If you've missed any, please download that app. You got to do that. Live this life. Be about this life at KBLA Talk 1580. So that before we start to talk about the historic win of the Congresswoman and even talk about what the governor has to say about Democrats waiting for some leader to ride in on a white horse. Last night, we did a town hall in the ATL about the Target boycott, and it was hosted by Reverend Jamal Bryant. You had Sister Tamika Mallory, one of the co-sponsors or co-founders, I should say, of Until Freedom, and yours truly, Nina Turner, founder of We Are Somebody. And Doc, we just broke that thing down. The boycott continues because this CEO has decided that he is not going to do the right thing by Black folks and other folks, other marginalized communities. He made a promise, and now that the neo-fascist is in the White House, he has decided that diversity, equity, and inclusion ain't his vibe anymore. And so, as you know, Pastor Bryant led a Target fast, which was a component of the larger boycott. And we're just going to keep on boycotting because we cannot allow ourselves to continuously be used and misused and abused by these corporations who whisper in our ear that they love us. And then when somebody else comes along, they act like they don't love us no more. They don't know us anymore. And Target is only the start. I believe that Black people and other communities of consciousness have got to come together to show these corporations that we are not going to play these games with them. They are not going to reap the benefits of our dollar without making sure that we are centered. And for the life of me, I don't know what is wrong with wanting a diverse, equitable, and inclusive work environment in your company. And dare I say, it should be the mode of operandi for the United States of America itself.
Isn't that the truth? But you had a strong spirit, you say, there in Atlanta, huh?
We did, Doc. It was a good time. I mean, people are committed. They're hungry. They see the parallels and or the connections. You know, you and I talk about the quilt a lot because I think the quilt, that creation of Black culture and how you take pieces that people have thrown away and you put them together. We're quilting this thing, and it is. People understand that this is bigger than DEI. This is about the power in our purchase and ensuring that people, that we are respected in that way. I believe there's promise in this problem, Doc. The things that are happening in this country, this is bigger than Target, no doubt about it, because some people say, why just Target? No, it's not just Target, but you got to start somewhere. We can't boycott them all at the same time, but let it be known. Let it be known throughout the land that we are not just going to sit back, and that connective tissue between what we're doing right now and what our forebears have done, many of them still alive. Like, these people are not all gone to the ancestral plane. And what comes first to my mind is the Montgomery bus boycott for 381 days, showing folks that there is indeed power in our purchase.
Power in our purchase. When you think of Adam Clayton Powell, Sr. and Jr. did the same thing. Martin King, of course, with precious sanitation workers before the bullet hit him.
Yes.
Involved in a strike, which is a certain kind of boycott. You would happen to know what is the percentage of Black workers at Target? I wonder the ways in which they can bring their power and pressure to bear.
Yeah, Doc, I am not sure. However, I am glad that you mentioned that. I did talk last night about the workers there. I've had the opportunity to talk to some of those workers who are ashamed. They feel deflected, defeated about what is happening, especially the Black workers. They support the boycott, but they feel ashamed of having to work at a company that's totally dismissed something that was beautiful. The CEO did the right thing in 2020 when he said George Floyd could have been one of his employees and made that commitment. And that is the precise reason why so many Black people and others who are in solidarity with us are so upset, because it was the right thing to do, both morally and economically. I think you can do well and do good at the same time. Those two things don't have to be mutually exclusive. So, Doc, I don't know the exact number. What I do know is that those workers, most of those workers, they are not unionized. And that is another phase of this work that we're doing, because those workers must be protected. Target has already made a decision to roll back some of the bonuses for some of those workers. And it's only a matter of time, as their market share continues to decrease, that this CEO is going to make a decision, most likely, probably, that could happen. Let me just say it could happen, to start laying off workers. And so we have to be in solidarity with those workers to make sure that they know that they're centered in this and they are in no way forgotten. They're not the enemy here. Just as the CEO made the decision to do the right thing in 2020, he can make another decision to continue to do right and not to bend to bigotry. That is exactly what he has done in so many others. But on the other hand, Doc, there are companies that didn't bend to bigotry. Costco's is one of those companies. You know, I got a chance to see a video of the CEO of Marriott, for example, and he was having this discussion about when that executive order came down. The first thing that he did, differently from what Target did, is he assembled his team. We believe in diversity, equity, inclusion. Now, how are we going to respond to this? You know, and long story less long, because he made a decision to keep going with what they believe is the absolutely right thing to do, he got over 40,000 emails, Doc, from his employees across the world. They're in 150 different countries. And that man told that story about 40,000 of his employees sent him an email saying thank you.
No, but that's what a courageous act does. Because when I think of these kind of issues, you and I know that DEI is not the same thing as TJL, which is to say that diversity, equity, and inclusion is not the same thing as truth, justice, love.
Come on.
Deep cause is, are you committed to truth, committed to justice? Do you care about your workers? Now, if that's the case, they ought to be unionized. If that's the case, you ought to make sure they are treated fairly and justly, no matter what you call the program.
That's right. And that they have living wages. You know, I care about the people in Huff or Lee Harvard or St. Clair. And if they work at a Target or Costco, wherever they work in, I want those folks to earn a living wage and to have health benefits so that they can live a good life. So, Doc, you right on that. See, DEI is the hook.
Yes.
It's much bigger than that because the program in and of itself did not benefit Black folks as much as it did. I mean, white women were the biggest beneficiaries. Let me just go on and put that fact out there. And that's not lost on Black people. What Black people and other justice conscious people are concerned about is that you made a promise. You know, you made profit off of our pain. And now you turn your back even on something that was minimally beneficial in terms of diversity, the program itself. But the concept of it is a beautiful thing. Just like the concept of affirmative action, even though we know materially did not necessarily work in our favor, the concept of it, if you start to roll back concepts like that, then you put up a bigger barrier to get to the root, the real root, and the real remedies of anti-Black bigotry.
No, but that's very real. That is very, very real. But when I hear that they want to cut back on the bonuses of workers, and I don't hear them saying they want to cut back on the bonuses of CEOs.
Come on, Doc.
Come on. Say, war priorities. They got war priorities. See, those are the same kind of priorities that lead toward cutting back on any kind of program that is not committed to treating Black people fairly and justly.
That's right.
Spiritual decay and wickedness, that's the same warped priorities that turn biblical values. Instead of the least of these, it's the first who are being treated the best, not the least who are being treated the best. Go on and be honest about it. Go on and be candid about it. Tell the truth. For the most part, the least of these don't really matter to you. Only when there's major demonstrations around the country, then all of a sudden you say, oh, I'm making a promise. I'm concerned about the least of these. These folk haven't been treated fairly. We're going to make sure they're treated fairly. And as soon as the demonstrators go home, and as soon as Trump and the gangsters move into the White House, and you say, we didn't really mean that in the first place. I don't know why we really said that. We shouldn't have made those promises to those folk. Our heart wasn't in it. Oh, really?
That's the point. I mean, you just hit the nail on the head. It's the promise itself and preying on our pain at the time and not being truly committed, because you weren't truly true. Because if you were, neo-fascism couldn't get you off your square if you were truly committed. And a point you brought up, Doc, about the least of these. So let me lay out some stats for our folks. CEO to worker pay. So I want to show the trajectory from 1989 to today. So in 1989, CEO to worker pay was 61 to 1. In 2024, 399 to 1.
Wow. Wow. Almost 400 to 1.
400 to 1, Doc. So now for Target, 719 to 1.
That right?
This CEO, 719 to 1. Now, Costco is 262 to 1. It's not great, but it's better. So now in the fiscal year of 2024, Target CEO Brian Cornel, who was the one who in 2020 made that promise on the death of George Floyd, which was the right thing to do. Don't get me wrong. It was. He received a total compensation of over $19 million. And this included a base salary of $1.4 million plus $14.7 million in stock awards and $3.1 million in other compensation. This is 719 times the median employee pay at Target, which is a little over $26,000. So the moral lane, because you always go, this is immoral.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about that, though. Think about $26,000. So that's working at Target and still living in poverty.
That's it. The medium employee.
Wow. Wow. No, that's what you call corporate greed. That's what you call organized greed. That's what you call avarice, institutionalized. Now, of course, Target's not the only one. The whole system is like that. It's across the board, treating poor and working people as if they are just objects to be manipulated, subjugated, dominated, and exploited.
Expendable, just no care and concern for the least of these. It's built into the system, but that doesn't mean we have to accept it. So going back to your opening monologue, Doc, about making sure that we start with that joy, we start with that love. We have to understand our intrinsic value in order to begin to fight for something greater than what this system will allow.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. There's something sacred about the personhood and personality of every creature. And for me, made in the image of a loving and great God. The Imago Dei itself. And it can never be crushed by any system. It can never be eliminated by any ideology.
Yeah.
That sanctity and dignity bestowed on human beings is something that can never be erased. It could be degraded, it could be rebuked, it could be scorned, but it's always there and will always serve as a source of resistance.
That's it. And we always crave for better, to make progress.
Yes.
So that is why regression should grade us. That should feel that this ain't right. To regress, we should be progressing. Another connection here in this quilt is that regression sets us back as we build to get deeper and deeper outcomes that truly change material conditions, class base, and that truly understands the debt owed race base or caste. It is both caste and class. And so if you roll back just these little bit things that you guys are doing, we can never get again to the root of the problem to get greater results and greater and deeper justice.
That's exactly right. That reminds me that we are somebody. Somewhere I heard somebody
We are
a movement called We Are
Somebody. Oh, we really are, Doc. And that solidarity, it is a verb, and we got to constantly build it, constantly be on guard, because just because you fight and obtain certain levels of justice, that opposite force, that opposite energy is always out there trying to pull us back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. That the enemies and foes are always out there. They're highly organized. They're highly mobilized. They think they are almighty, but they're only mighty for a moment.
Mighty for a moment. Come on, y'all. I love me a good alliteration, Doc. You speaking my love language. Speaking of love languages, when we come forward, we are going to talk about the historic victory of Congresswoman Barbara Lee. And are Democrats waiting for one leader to ride in on a white horse? Pick the color of your horse. You are listening to Truth Time.
The truth will set you free, but first it might raise your blood pressure.
I'm not driving you, man.
More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner when we come forward.
I'm Mike Island with 4 things you should know on the Black Information Network. The Vatican may extend visiting hours as thousands have turned out wanting to pay their respects to Pope Francis. He will lie in state for 3 days at St. Peter's Basilica before Saturday's funeral. Progress is being made in the fight against the New Jersey wildfire that has caused evacuations, power outages, and road closures. It's now 30% contained and the evacuation order has been lifted. There are now more than 600 confirmed cases of measles in Texas. Almost 30 new infections have been reported in less than a week, according to the state health department. Illinois Senator Dick Durbin won't seek re-election. The Democrat announced on Wednesday that he'll be retiring next year. He currently serves as the Senate Minority Whip and is a ranking member of the Judiciary Committee. And that's 4 things you should know. I'm Mike Island on your home for Black News First, the Black Information Network.
Experience adventure at Palm Springs Aerial Tramway. Ride the world's largest rotating tram car. Explore over 50 miles of scenic trails in pristine wilderness. Dine at 8,500 feet with awe-inspiring views and get that perfect souvenir. Adventure at its peak. Learn more at pstramway.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers got it done last night and they flexed their muscles in the process. In a very physical game at Crypto.com, 46 fouls were called. The Lakers beat up Minnesota 94-85 to even up their first-round series at a game apiece. Another strong performance for Luka Doncic, 31 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists. LeBron finished with 21 points. The Lakers were perfect from the free throw line, making all 20 of their attempts. A major factor in the Lakers' win was their perimeter defense. In Game 1, Minnesota made 21 three-pointers. They made only 5 of 25 last night. On nearly every attempt, a Lakers defender had a hand in their face at the three-point line. The next 2 games are in Minneapolis. Game 3 is Friday night. Let's see if the Lakers can maintain this newfound defensive intensity. Game 3 for the Clippers in Denver is Thursday night at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Whoa, whoa.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least like to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
This is Stevie Wonder, calling on Los Angeles property owners to help get unhoused veterans off the street. If you're a property owner or know someone who is, consider accepting veteran housing vouchers. You will receive guaranteed rent while providing a stable and safe home. Help end veteran homelessness and make a real difference in people's lives.
Learn more by emailing houseourvets@lacity.org.
At Exquisite Family Mortuary, we know how overwhelming it can be planning a meaningful farewell for your loved one. Secure your peace of mind by calling Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. From traditional funeral services to memorials to direct cremation, pre-needs, and more. Call Charlotte White at Exquisite Family Mortuary for Southern hospitality in Southern California. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. Exquisite Family Mortuary is located nearby in Inglewood, California. Exquisite Family Mortuary, where your loved one becomes our loved one. This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
Beautiful indeed. So, Barbara Jean Lee, the Congresswoman, won the Oakland race, making history as the first Black woman to be mayor of the city of Oakland. And we know that she has served served in a very noble way in that Congress, taking some risks, especially when it comes to war, in ways that some Congress members were not willing to do, talking about Iraq in particular. Not so sure how that is going to impact how she leads as mayor, because those are two different propositions coming from the legislative branch of government to the executive branch of government. But I think Oakland is definitely in good hands.
No, I think you're right about that in terms of the choices. I mean, Sister Barbara Lee is someone who I've always had deep respect for. In fact, when she took that historic vote in 2001 and was under death threat in a very ugly and vicious way, I was blessed to be at Princeton. We invited her to come to Princeton almost underground because of all of the ugly threats. She gave a powerful speech, and we just wanted to be a haven and refuge for her. And the fact that, as you know, she comes out of the chocolate side of Oakland. Allen Temple, the great J. Alfred Smith was her pastor, and she studied under the great Ron Dellums. Of course, Dellums learned much from her as she learned from Dellums, but Dellums was a kind of mentor to her, and Dellums was a giant himself, and she's a giant in her own way. That shift from Congress to mayor is going to be an interesting one, though, because it's a different kind of dynamic. She ran against a gentrifier who seemingly had very little concern about poor folk in Oakland, from what I could tell.
Former council lady, I think, former councilwoman in Oakland.
I just know that they were so obsessed with making sure that this real estate industry was gaining assets rather than empowering poor and working people. That's what I heard. But I just know Sister Barbara Lee from way back. I have a deep love for her. I have a deep respect for her. and wish her well, and any support I can lend, or you can lend, or anybody else can lend to come to terms with Oakland. Oakland is one of the great historical sites in the history of this country, in the history of Black America. Ain't no doubt about that.
No doubt about it, Doc. And another thing about her that's historic is that she worked for the one and only Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm. Not many people could say that. So her training between Congressman Dellums and Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm, I mean, who actually gets to live that kind of life and tell that kind of story? And I'm just in awe of her because of that experience.
Have you had a chance to spend a lot of time with her?
Not a lot of time. I would like to spend more time with her. I was actually working on a book about Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm, and wanted the opportunity to go deeper with Congresswoman, now Mayor-elect Barbara Lee. So we've been on many a Zoom together talking to progressive organizations, and we've probably been in each other's physical presence, maybe only one time, but I certainly have admired her work from afar. I do wish that she, has spoke out more in this season as a member of Congress when it came to what the Black Caucus was not doing. I do have that critique.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it's okay to critique leaders that you admire. I admire her immensely, and I want her to be a successful executive. And being successful goes back to what you and I talk about all the time, that's lifting the least of these. I don't think that there's anybody that it will be more focused than she will at this period of time. So Oakland is in good hands. That doesn't mean that I'm always going to agree with the mayor-elect, but I believe that her heart is in the right place, and I believe that she's going to work incredibly hard for the residents of Oakland.
Oakland. I mean, I was hoping that she would have been the senator in California.
Mm-hmm.
The two-party system and the corporate duopoly. She's one of the few genuine progressives who has worked through that system and still holds on to some deep commitment to the least of these as an elected official.
Yes.
And that I'm not even sure that she was treated as well as she should have been when she ran for senator.
Oh, she wasn't. Oh, she absolutely was not. And I was appalled, by that. It had a lot to do with her being a woman. It had a lot to do with her being a Black woman. We're going to tell the truth on that. Not in every single situation are those two variables at the top,
right?
But they're always a factor. And in that situation, those two things were at the top. And it's just curious to me, you give older white men the opportunities to be president of the United States of America, or even run for president. And you had even those who should have been solidly on her side making excuses as to why they didn't push as fiercely for her to be the next senator. The realities in politics, and notice that coming off of a national campaign, is that it is still harder for Black candidates to raise, dollar for dollar, historically the same amount of money as some of their similarly positioned white counterparts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that's real. That's very real. But we wish her well. We wish the precious folk in Oakland well. And it would be a beautiful thing if it were a new day in Oakland.
You know what? The opportunity abounds with the mayor-elect Barbara Lee. That I state that as a fact. The opportunity abounds. We will see what happens. I'm gonna turn to our folks in the chat today, shouting them out, thanking them for taking time out of their day. They could have been doing anything, but they're here chatting and building community with us and with their colleagues here. We got Morris Phillips. It's always in the house. Good afternoon, Dr. West and Senator Turner. The struggle continues. Amen to that. Always, always, always. We got ZDA. Love you, Doc. Blessed Peacemaker, always in the house as well. Shouting out his colleagues in the chat. I'm just amazed at the community, because they don't just talk to us or ask us questions and make remarks. They are in community with one another. Blessed Peacemaker, Senator Turner, missed you too from yesterday. Yeah, it pained my heart, but in good hands with Dr. West and Dr. Abdullah. Again, I would just want to shout her out for being in the ready position. Blessed Peacemaker, love being here with you. All homegrown love warriors. Stephen Minsky, Malcolm X said, only a fool lets his enemy educate his children.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, Malcolm, so many truths, so much love.
So much love. Yeah, brother. Minister Malcolm did say that all the way. So just going. Peace, Dr. West. This come from Jesse Paris, a.k.a. Che Nkume. Peace, Dr. West and Senator Nina Turner from Denver, Colorado. Peace back to you. That Morris Phillips and all things get an understanding, including corporate America. Amen to that. Oh my God, I'm blanking on the name of the guy. He's a leadership guru. Stephen Covey is his name. And one of his quotes that I love so much, he said, seek first to understand and then to be understood. And that is foundational in everything that we do. Seek first to understand and then to be understood. Powerful. Pastor Harold in the house. I wonder if factories are willing to do something, some creative financing on products for different locations so that entrepreneurs can develop their own or our own surplus stores, groceries, etc. I think Pastor is making a reference to the fact that, the Black community does not truly control its own economics, and we don't even control the vehicles. Even when we have businesses, we're dependent on other people to be able to get the raw supplies and things that we need to be able to make the products that we do make. That is very intriguing. I do believe we need to build up Black institutions, organizations, and infrastructures. When we come forward, Dr. West and I will continue. You are listening to Truth Time.
It's Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look. And unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at the gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
This is Stevie Wonder, calling on Los Angeles property owners to help get unhoused veterans off the street. If you're a property owner or know someone who is, consider accepting veteran housing vouchers. You will receive guaranteed rent while providing a stable and safe home. Help end veteran homelessness and make a real difference in people's lives.
Learn more by emailing houseourvets@lacity.org.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Individual results may vary. Consult a doctor prior to use.
If you've struggled to lose weight in the past, this important message is for you because you could lose as much as 50 pounds or more with Zelfie. Zelfie makes it easy and affordable to get weight loss treatment 100% online. Zelfie providers can prescribe FDA-approved GLP-1 weight loss medications clinically shown to help people lose weight like Wegovy, Zepbound, and others. Plus, help get the medication covered by insurance so it's as little as $0 a month.
The doctors are super helpful, and the meds have been a game changer. It's the first program I've had success with.
Before Zelfie, I was unable to lose weight, even though I was eating healthy and exercising 6 days a week. Zelfie helped me not only lose weight, but I feel so much better.
Text GOAL to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie and see if weight loss medications like Wegovy or Zepbound are right for you. Don't wait. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text GOAL to 200-300. That's Goal to 200 300. Goal to 200 300.
Truth crushed to earth shall rise again. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, you are. We are so glad that you are, Doc. Going back for a few more, we got Terrence Allen Duncan, who I think might be new or probably doesn't comment as much, has a question. Apologies if you address this. What are your thoughts on the DNC leadership perspective? David Hogg, James Carville, both or neither? So, Doc, Carville's out there talking all kinds of smack. And you got the younger person saying, "Oh, we're gonna primary these Democrats." So yeah, what are your thoughts, Doc? I got some thoughts, but what are yours?
Just want to push out Brother Bernie and Sister AOC and other progressives, and which means they coming at you too. I guess he just wants a complete shift in party. The moderates form their party and the progressives form their party. I said, oh, Carvel, okay. You say there's a civil war taking place in the Democratic Party and you think it ought to proceed. And many younger voices are saying, no, the struggle's going to go on. We're just going to have to primary some of your folk, Carvel. But I know you got some thoughts on this.
No, I am right with you. It's called a primary for a reason. What Carville is wants to have happen is just go straight to the general. He said that progressives don't run against Republicans. Well, yeah, they do when they make it through the primary. That's who they run against in the general. It's just and as you said get our own party. No, if progressives want to stay in the Democratic Party, they have every right to stay in the Democratic Party. I think the neoliberals ought to go, because when you lay out progressive policies and not necessarily call them progressive, and what I mean by that, when you talk to people about universal health care, would you like to have universal health care and not go bankrupt? Would you like not to go bankrupt because of medical debt? It is a resounding yes. Americans across the political spectrum. Universal child care. Would you, as working class people, like to have universal child care? It's a resounding yes, Doc. Would you like workers to be able to organize in their workplace without fear of retribution and losing their job? Resounding yes. So would you like clean air, clean water, clean food? Would you like those things in America? It's a resounding yes. So Carville has it wrong. The neoliberals need to go, because those who want to advance progressive policies or a human rights economy are in line with what the majority of the American people want. The man is out of order, Doc. He's out of order.
But of course, it doesn't say is the neoliberals have most of the money and the progressives have most of the insight. And even the party itself still doesn't want to hit the issues of mass incarceration, poverty, and genocide in Gaza the way it ought, so that those debates go on and on and on. But we appreciate that question from
we do. Terrence Allen Duncan, welcome to the chat, because I bet he watches us all the time. Everybody, we got more people who watch us than actually dip into the comments, but I love it. We love it. That's why we take the time to thank you all and to lift you up. We got questions about the Target boycott, about Target reaching out to Reverend Al Sharpton. And Reverend Sharpton, he definitely has talked about this movement is bigger than any one individual. So I'm going to be one of the first to say that. Those of us who were myself and people like Tamika Mallory, one of the co-founders of Until Freedom, Pastor Jamal Bryant, who got the Target Fast started, we understand that this is bigger than just one individual. And Reverend Sharpton is on the record as saying that we will not be divided. The Target CEO is trying to pick off different Black leaders to try to drive a wedge. On Easter Sunday, Reverend Al, as part of his Easter Sunday sermon, said, "You're not going to be able to pick us off." And that's a beautiful thing. You got Brother Roland Martin letting folks know that if you try to deal with Target, if you allow Target, if you try to have side meetings with Target so you can get a little some trinkets, that he calling folks out by name. So we're together, and it's a lot more to that story. But I just want I want, if not now, when? That's the handle of the person who asked us that question. I want them to know that we are together. When we come forward, one leader for the Democratic Party on a white horse. Well, let's talk about that. You're listening to Truth Time.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Time is up. The IRS is in full collection mode for 2024, issuing liens, levies, and garnishments to anyone who has a past tax debt or unfiled tax returns. Don't wait till it's too late. Your paycheck and bank accounts are at risk of being seized. Call now and stop the collection process today. If you're living check to check, no matter how much you're making, you still may qualify for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. It's just a 5-minute call to get your options, and it's free. If you owe back taxes, have years of unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to sleep better, business or personal, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief while there's still time. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and tough. This veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. The call is free. Call their hotline number now, 800-652-1714. That's 800-652-1714. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-652-1714 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
Love and truth all the time. To our chat on YouTube, we couldn't get to everybody, but we see you and we want you to know that, and we appreciate you. So, Doc, Governor Gavin Newsom had an exclusive interview with NBC News, and the headline: Democrats need to stop looking for a savior on a white horse. I want my horse will be a different color, but in any case, that's the horse that he picked. So Governor Gavin Newsom, widely viewed as a potential contender for the 2028 Democratic presidential nomination, which we know that had tough words for his own party. I wish he had those tough words when we could have had a primary in 2023. But anyway, I guess he sees the light now. We are, and I'm quoting him, we are as dumb as we want to be, end quote. He said to NBC. Democrats have been too focused on the personality of candidates at the top of the ticket rather than building a platform that is bigger than the nominee and addresses how the party will fight for what voters want, he said. Now, Doc, you had the courage and intestinal fortitude to get in that race in 2024, running on justice and love and truth. What say you?
No, it sounds like the brother's running for president. And so many of these politicians, they just say anything to get attention. They say anything to make sure that they become more center stage. That's one of the paradoxes, if not the contradiction. Don't look for a white horse, but I'm on this horse and keep track of me. Oh, I see. No, he need to learn something from Tavis Smiley, Talk Radio 1580. And one of the things he needs to learn is not just Truth Time, but all the various stations in which even the commercials have giants like James Brown and Aretha Franklin and the Dramatics and Kendrick Lamar and Curtis Mayfield and the
Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder. What is it about the lifting of all of those voices so that collectively we ain't talking about no white horses. We ain't talking about horses at all. We talking about the people and their suffering, their dignity and their sanctity, and what we can do about it in our own distinctive ways, given our distinctive callings as human beings. Listen, Brother Gavin, this ain't no plaything, brother. This is Talk Radio 1580, Brother Travis Smiley in Truth Time. Don't be playing with us.
Don't play with us. Tricks are for kids. I agree with the premise, but it's too little too late as far as I'm concerned. This ain't the time. The Democrats got mollywopped by President Donald J. Trump on his second tour of duty here in the White House. The time for him to have said those things, it doesn't make what he's saying not true, it just makes it disingenuous. The time to have said those things would have been in 2023 when people like you put it on the line, other people put it on the line. He should have been out there saying, let's have a real primary and not a coronation. But he wasn't nowhere to be found for that. But now all of a sudden, the brother got courage. Doc said, don't play with us. Don't play with us. I say tricks are for kids. Oh my God. I can't believe, as Tavis Smiley, Brother Tavis would say, just like that, our time is up. But until next time, Dr. Weston, I want you to live your purpose, understand your purpose, live on purpose, and remember, titles are good, but purpose is better. Until next time.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.